1991, and we're in Bill and Ella's living room, and we want Grandma to record some stories about her life. So we're going to ask her questions, okay? And then we'll see if I can.
Is it on now?
It's running, yes. So, well, Mother, why don't you start with? You want to tell us one of your stories? Where do you feel comfortable to start? Talk about Uncle Tommy, or you want to tell that story about Huddy up at Lake George? That's a good one. We'd like to have that written down.
Well, everybody had come on from Cleveland for Elmer's and Mary's wedding. And Huddy and a friend came on ahead. They hitchhiked. And they wanted to go up to Lake George and camp. So while they were they went up to Lake George, and while they were there, they went into the park looking for a place where they thought they could park or camp. So they saw this Indian, copper Indian, and Sitting Bull's grandson had sat for it. And they thought they would like to put their initials on him. And it was an Indian that was had been giving water to a French soldier, dying French soldier. And there's a spring there, and it's still there. And this Indian is holding his hand, cupping the water to put into the mouth of the French soldier. And they depicted that. Well,
Do you want some ginger ale or something?
one of them put their initials on it, but he was underage, and Huddy was just ready to put his on when the constable came along and arrested him. He had just passed 16 years old, and the other boy was 15. And his name was Mayotte, his last name. So the constable's wife wouldn't hear him putting him into jail, so she said she'd be responsible for him. Let him stay at her home.
This is Huddy.
Yeah.
Huddy, okay.
And so he spent the summer there, and he was being paid for working. And he had raspberries and cream every morning for breakfast.
It's funny.
And the constable's wife treated him really well. So at the end of the summer, he had money left over where he had been paid. And so he really had a good time. Now they have well, after that, I guess so many people tried to put their initials on that they put a fence around it. But every time anybody went up to Lake George, they went to see the Indian. And they'd send Huddy a card.
With the picture of the Indian, huh?
Yeah, the picture of the Indian. So he had a good time, I guess. He really camped in luxury.
I think I'll stop it and, okay. Now we're going to
When
have...
I was 8 years old, if I'd see a crepe on someone's door, I'd go up and knock on the door and
It's all right, Mother.
Okay.
and I wanted to tell whoever was in there I was sorry, and I'd go in and look at the corpse. And I remember one lady standing there, and I can remember talking to her and telling her how sorry I was. And she was so nice, and she just was looking down at him and listening to me, you know. So
And you didn't know him?
I wouldn't know any of them.
But they don't, you know, it's
But I
interesting
went
'cause they
in to
don't
pay
do that
my
anymore.
respects anyway at 8 years. No, I was about 11 or 12 then. But I have another story when I was 8 years old, I'll tell you. No. So
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
Mother.
go ahead with the,
Why, I was playing house with my doll one day, and I was 8 years old at the time. And I made out she was dead. And those days, in 1908, you had dark green shades, and I pulled the green shades down, and went on. I put a ribbon on the doorknob with a plate. So Mama had a cousin who used to stay with us, and she was a cripple. She was kind of on the bossy side too. And she came in and she saw it was all dark in this room. She grabbed a hold of one of the shade poles and shot it up, I guess, almost to the ceiling, to the top of the window. And she said, "Well, you think that it was so dark in here, you think there was somebody dead here." So then I went out at the front door and I grabbed the crate off.
destroy the evidence. That's good.
So that was the end of that one.
All
Well,
righty.
Pop was a very dignified man, and people used to say how well he carried himself, and of course he always dressed well. He was superintendent of the wallpaper factory in the town. So he started out one morning. He was determined to be there before the help came to the factory. It was a large factory, and but he always wanted to be there ahead of the men and women. So he started out this one morning about 7 o'clock, and there was a pig out there, a white one. So anyway, he called it a sow, and he started to walk, and the pig followed him. And Pop would run, and the pig would run. Pop would walk, and the pig would walk. So he got over as far as the schoolyard, and he decided to come back home and get some help. So he said, "Hey," he came to the door. He says, "Hey, Elmer, come down here." And Elmer came out pulling up his trousers, and I don't know whether he wore suspenders or not. I think he did have suspenders on his pants. So anyway, Elmer stood there, and he said, "Well, what can I do?" And the pig was there, still with him. So with that, Pop determined to get to work on time, you know. So he ran off, and the pig ran after him, and he'd walk, and the pig would walk. Well, I had been looking out the window because I heard the commotion downstairs. So he got over. He had to go quite a ways to get to the firehouse. But when he got to the firehouse, he went into the firehouse and left the pig there.
Went out the back. Oh, that's
So we got to work on time?
That was funny.
Was it a big pig or a little pig?
A big one. He said a big fat sow. And it was oh, I should have finished. It was in the paper the next day that they had gotten a pig. It was out near the country. Well, then, seems to me there's something else about Pop I wanted to tell. Well, Pop and I guess there were the boys, and I don't know who all was there, but Pop wanted to have a game of pinochle. So they had me in the game, and I didn't know a thing about pinochle. So I was Pop's partner. And of course, as I say, I didn't know how to play, and I just played anything, I guess. And he looks at me, oh, with a terrible look, and he says, "Gee, you're a bum player." He could say that again.
Well, didn't you play pinochle with Dad?
I never.
No, later on.
Oh yeah, I learned to play pinochle when I was older.
Mhm.
But that was I was about 21, I guess. 22. 22. Well,
Yeah,
I want you to tell about how you and Dad eloped on when Dad's day off. Remember? Columbus Day,
When you eloped.
when you and Dad eloped.
oh, well, Pop got a job in Cleveland. And so we were going to have to move to Cleveland. Well, Dad was all upset about that. He didn't want me to move to Cleveland. So we didn't. His mother was Dad's mother was, well,
Strict.
well, for one thing, I was a cat. She was a strong Catholic, and I was a Catholic. I went to the Catholic church and I sang in the choir and everything. But still, the family wasn't all true blood Catholics. So we had been going together for 5 years, and that, of course, we were 17 at the time. And there was a terrible flu epidemic in 1918, and she couldn't they were all sick down there with the flu. So she couldn't get any nurse or anything. They weren't to be had. That was that awful flu epidemic. Many people died with it. They lived on the main street, and all the funerals that go by, day after day. Those were terrible. So Mom allowed me to go and stay with her. And I slept with her. We were in the bed, and then she'd be telling me how it was only puppy love anyway. Here I was endangering my life by being down there, and here she'd be talking to me like that, And she didn't like it. Well, we were young, 17. So then Mama said, well, I couldn't be coming back up there if I was going to be down there where the flu was. So I had to stay there all the time. I couldn't go up home. So anyway, so then we didn't know what we were going to do if I had to move to Cleveland. So we decided we weren't going to tell anybody. I didn't want to get married without telling my mother and father first. So we decided to get married on the quiet. And we got married about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, but you weren't 17.
No, I was
No.
22 then.
Yeah.
We'd been going together
Yeah.
for 5 years. But it didn't make any difference with Dad's mother, you know. But anyway, we got married at 5 o'clock in the morning in the Catholic Church, and I remember the minister, or the priest, he was a curate, and he was looking out, and made it more exciting, you know, looking outside the door that nobody would see us. So, we went up to Glenn's, we got married and went out, and Bob and Annabelle stood up with us. Bob, Dad's sister, brother. So we went up to Glens Falls, and we couldn't find a place to have any breakfast. It was so early. I think it was we looked around Hudson Falls. Then we went up to Glens Falls. We finally found a place. But the night before we got married, we were, Bob stayed at some kind of a hotel, and he was ridden with bed bugs up here. So he came down, and he slept in the lounge down in the hotel. And, I think Dad was with him. But he didn't go to bed, he just stayed downstairs. And because of the bugs, the bed bugs. So then the next morning, I stayed in it was a place for people learn to be nuns or something. I stayed there.
How about Annabelle? Where was Annabelle?
Annabelle and I.
The two of you.
So, we were going out of the place. These women, girls and women were all huddled up together, scared to death. Well, here was this thing, like the building was like this, and we were up in here. And Dad and Bob were going around and around. They couldn't find us to see where we were. And the women thought there were burglars or something. They were all clutching each other, you know. When we went out. So, we went up to Glens Falls looking for something to eat, and I think we got a place where we got some eggs or something. But then we came down home, and Dad went to his mother's, and I went to my place. And Aunt Tilly thought there was something going on, you know. But nobody said anything. I don't think I told her. So, of course, Dad went down to work in Albany. And he'd come home and he'd stay at his house.
I love to hear this story.
So Grandma Flood didn't know what to make of all this. She knew Dad told her, finally, he said, well, I had wanted to vote for Al Smith for governor, and I couldn't vote because I had a different name. And Dad the same way. He couldn't vote either, I guess. So he came back one Saturday and he said to me, well, he said, you can vote. He said, because I told Mother. And I said, well, what did you say? Frederick, what would your father say? That's all you heard from, what would your father say, you know? So finally we got a place and went down to Albany and lived there in a little living room and a kitchen. In the living room you had to pull out a bed, you know. So, well then we were married 10 months when I got twins.
There they are. There.
And Pop said to them, the prettiest babies I ever saw. And Mom says, I overheard this. She says, well, what about your own? Yeah, she said, what about your own? Well,
What did your mother say when you told her, Grandma?
oh, they understood, you know, they were. So then we finally went out to, well, I went to Cleveland while I was pregnant to stay there, and then Dad stayed. He had a chance to go up and work on the lakes on one of the boats, took care of the shipping. So then he wasn't with me when they came.
Where was he?
So it was about 3 weeks later. He had to wait till the season was over, like Labor Day. So, well, I have to tell you this one story, too.
It's okay.
Keep on going?
Sure.
About Pop was on the streetcar one day, and there was a woman wanting to get by him, and he was on the outside seat, and she had a beaded bag, and I guess it had the loops or something on the bottom of it. So I got caught on one of Dad's buttons, and he said, she said, cut the button off.
Cut the button off.
Take the button off or
Cut it
something like
off.
that. He says, what was how to say that? Take the bag off it or something. So she had to get off the streetcar, and she just pulled away because she broke the bead on the. But he wasn't going to take a button off to get to get the beaded bag. So. Trying to think what else.
Was he working for the boats?
Up in Lake George for the D&H Railroad. That's who he worked for in Albany.
And he wouldn't come home at night?
He'd come home, but it was kind of a. Well, the place was hot there.
Yeah, weren't you
know.
working too before the?
Yeah, I was working. I worked in the store, and I told I had to go and tell the superintendent that I had to leave. I said, because of my health.
You didn't say the word then, huh?
It was 6
You
months
dare say
then, you know. And he said, well then, of course, I had a very difficult birth, and I had all everything.
You're stupid. You're a funny thing.
Okay. Well, we'll take a break. Go on. And then ask her, Jan.
Grandma, I think you ought to describe to us your mother and Grandpa's mother and your grandparents as much as you can remember, because we don't know anything about them. What
What
they
did
were
you-
like.
What you ask me?
To describe your parents and grandparents and Grandpa's parents and people that we don't know.
Oh,
Where they came from and
What they look like and how they behaved.
And how they fought in the Civil War.
well, what I was going to say on that, after I said about the birth, Dad came out, and of course I looked like a different person. I was always little, you know, and of course I was all filled out when I went out to Cleveland, and good color and everything. So then when Dad came out, he was so shocked I thought he didn't love me anymore. because he didn't. He said, "Well, I didn't expect to see you look like that," you know. But everything went along fine. And the two were healthy and very enjoyable. So now you want me to tell you something about my family.
Well, how about the one that was in the Civil War?
Pop-Pop?
Yeah, tell about Pop-Pop. You know, like, didn't you go with him on a trip one time?
Well,
What did he look like?
well, he was sort of blonde, and he had one of those mustaches, like, you know, like the you see in men in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
One of those bushy mustaches. He was nice looking.
Was he tall?
No, I think he was medium height. But he was very funny. And he came home with a hickory cane from Gettysburg. He went down to I think it was the 50th anniversary. And we used to walk along the streets in Oak Park. And he had this hickory cane, and these black snakes would be going across the walk. And he'd take his cane and they were a lot of them. He'd just kill them as we went along the street.
Oak Park where?
Huh?
Oak Park where?
Illinois. That's when Pop took a job out at the Sears Roebuck, where the wallpaper mill was. But when we were in Hackensack, that's where we were when he. Oh, I'll have to tell you this. Is it on?
Yeah, it's gone. It's all right, Mother. We're all on it.
Well,
Sooner or later.
one day, I happened to see this car parked in front of our house, and I was about a block away.
Mother's taking a drink of water. Getting a...
So the only one that I knew that had a car was Uncle Jake. So I ran down to see Uncle Jake, and when I got in the house, here was this big lawyer. I didn't know what he was at the time. So he was pacing up and down the living room, and Pop was there, and Pop says, "Well, what did you want to see Mr. Taylor for?" Well, he said he's heir to a lot of money. He said, 20 million. So he was the nearest of kin. So they wanted to tell him about it, and they were going to get to work on it. So by the time these two there were two lawyers in this big firm, and it was one of the biggest firms in New York, and they broke up partnership over this thing because one there was some supposed to be a relative, some fellow was supposed to be a relative, and they never even heard of him before. But he wouldn't pay them what they wanted, and nobody knew him. So anyway, one of the lawyers was willing to let it go work on it for less. Of course, they'd have to go to Ireland and everything. So the other lawyer wouldn't have it, so they broke up partnership. And the name of the firm was Trout, Wine and Brown. And I can remember hearing them tell about it, you know. So
Mother,
there was such a mix-up about the whole everything.
how old were you then?
Pop then?
How old were you then?
How old was I? About
Yeah,
12.
About 12.
So there was so much to do about it, and so much controversy there that finally the war broke out, the First World War, and that stopped everything. And so they said that money and property, the worth of it, went into chancery. That's what they call it. That went into the Bank of England. So they said when anything went into the Bank of England, no one ever got anything out of it.
Hmm.
So people in those days, they didn't, like Pop had a good job, and people didn't, when they were comfortably set, they're not like today, you know. I think probably they would have gotten into it more, but they had, before the war, but they didn't know enough to do those things,
Well, wasn't it
to go after it.
Yeah, wasn't it Richard Taylor? Wasn't that Pop was Richard Taylor?
Yeah.
And didn't he say his pension was good enough
Oh,
for him?
yeah, he had gotten his $30 a month pension. Oh, he says, I don't give a damn for it. He says, my pension's good for me. It's good enough for me.
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, where was his wife?
Pardon?
Where was his wife?
Pop's wife, Richard
Well,
Taylor's wife.
She had died in about 1905, I think.
And then he came to live with you?
Well, yes, he was off and on.
We're going to have a giggle
No, I
session.
think he stayed with us. It was Maggie that was off and on. But Pop stayed with us.
Well, who was Maggie?
Pop he was.
Who's Maggie? Your mother's cousin?
Maggie was, I think her second cousin.
For your mother?
Mm.
What did your mother look like?
What did my mother look like? Well, you have got a picture of her.
No, I don't.
Yes, I gave you the
You know.
picture of my mother and father.
Oh, that's right, I do.
Yeah.
Well, what was she like?
My mother,
Yeah.
oh, she was pretty. She had pretty chestnut hair. And she's about 5'5.5", and slender. She was always slender. She never weighed over 120 pounds, and she had 7 children, 5 boys and the 2 girls. Are they,
They're coming back.
oh. And she was she was a very sweet person. She was very mild person. She never got upset. She never had a headache. And the only time I ever saw her in bed was when she sprained an ankle.
Was she funny too? Did she have a really good sense of humor?
A really good what?
Sense of humor.
Oh, yes. But she was very, it's
Reserved.
hard to understand
She was
her.
kind of reserved.
Yes, she was.
And she
Lovely
had a Brooklyn accent.
My mother, no.
What was that
she had a
accent?
Jersey
Oh, was
accent.
it a Jersey accent? I know she had an accent.
Yeah, she was, oh, you remember her. You
Yep,
all
yes, I
remember
remember her, but, you
Well,
know,
we don't.
But
Jan
Jan
doesn't.
No, you don't, no. Yeah, she had what you call an Eastern accent. And she never lost that.
Mm-hmm.
But she was such a gentle person. She never complained, never.
I think I remember hers that she always agreed with anyone. She
Oh,
would
yeah,
never
yeah.
disagree.
Well, she always had a Bible verse for any occasion.
Yes,
For any-
yeah.
Anything that came up, she always.
She'd say that one in the Proverbs, lean not unto your own understanding, but in all, well, there's a proverb, what's the second part?
In all thy ways acknowledge.
In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. But she said there's one comes ahead of that. She said, lean not unto your own understanding. Then
You know. Right.
and
Well, now her brother-
Trust in the Lord with all your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
what'd you say?
Starts out with trust in the Lord with all your heart,
Yes,
and lean not unto your own understanding.
yeah, that's right.
could we have walls here?
Acknowledge him. He would do it.
But I thought the other one came first. Lena, I don't understand.
No.
Yes, it's the way it is.
But,
Well, now, Uncle Tommy was your mother's brother.
yeah. And she used to take him, have you got this one?
Mm-hmm.
And she used to take him, Central Park every day for a walk. And, she was like a mother to him. He was 10 years younger. And after she died, why, they said Uncle Tommy wasn't the same person. That he was, he'd lost his sense of humor. And he had a sense of humor, didn't he? He'd play games with us, and what was that game we used to play with us? Dice.
Parcheesi?
Craps.
All right. Parcheesi, I imagine. Parcheesi?
No,
Sorry?
it was 23 Skidoo.
Oh, 23 Skidoo.
Boy, you'll have to teach us that one.
Where was your father born?
Well, Pop was born they were both born in East New York, I think, Mom and Pop.
All right, how about your grandfather? How about Papa?
Taylor.
Taylor,
He was born in Ireland.
in Ireland.
You went around there, did you see that? Didn't you go over there and you said there were squatters on the property?
No, that was your niece.
Huh?
That was your niece.
I think it may have
Oh, was it? Well, didn't you go there too, Jan?
Phil went. She was the one who.
But didn't you go over there too?
But I wasn't in Ireland for that long.
Oh. So,
But you don't remember where in Ireland he was born?
his grandfather was a farmer
This thing's still
over there, and he came over here and settled
still
in
moving.
Westbury.
Was he born in
Westbury.
County Cork?
What?
Wasn't he born in County Cork?
No, County Leitrim or something like that. And he's born in the same county that Helen and Deidre.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it was Leitrim they call it.
Well, now, you're going to have to tell us about Grandpa's parents.
Huh?
You should tell us about Grandpa's parents.
Well, now I can't tell you much about them. I remember seeing my grandmother once, and she had 3 children. She had Adam and Christian was my father's real name, and what was the other one? Jacob. So Jacob was the only one had an education. My father, went to work in a wallpaper factory when he was 9 years old.
Imagine.
And they said that was before the child labor laws. And he helped to support the family. Because his father was in a wheelchair, he was injured in the Civil War. And then he had a sister, Annie, Pop. And she never talked. She had a stroke or something when she was very young. I don't know just what it was. But all she could do was shake her head. Or, she was very sad.
well, where did your great grandparents come from?
Alsace Lorraine. Now did the French take that away from Germany?
I don't know whether they took it away from Germany, but
Or
it's
whether it was Germany?
part German and French.
Huh?
It was part of Germany and France.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, now they said it took the grandparents 6 months to come over here in a sailboat. Can you imagine that?
No. Oh. Oh. Well, Mother, what about Dad's father? How old was Dad when his father died?
Well, I think he was about 95. And I think great-grandma was 90.
No, Mother, I mean Dad's parents.
Yeah. Oh, his parents.
Yes.
Well, his father died when he was 47.
Oh.
And he had a nervous breakdown.
Oh.
And
Well, Dad was pretty young then, when his
Dad
father
was
died.
17.
Oh.
Hmm.
What do you remember about him?
Well, I think he was a nice guy. See, I just started to go with Dad, and I didn't see him only once. Oh, I saw him more than once, I guess. But he was very nice. And I remember one time Dad had me down there, and when I came home, he gave me a box of candy.
Oh.
Mm,
Who, Dad's father?
yeah,
Oh.
he was so sweet.
Was he real quiet too?
Pardon?
Was he quiet too?
Oh, yeah. He was, he was really a wonderful man. He was a builder.
Hmm.
And, well, then Grandma, after he died, oh, it was a while after, I guess, she gave the business over to his partner for a sum of money that he'd give her every month. But that was really a mistake.
Well, he didn't pay her, or she wasn't getting her just due.
Hmm?
He wasn't paying her?
Oh, yeah, he paid her, but she should have saved that for the boys. But that, the other side of his partner, relatives took over. But you see, if Dad's father had somebody else in there besides this other family, it would have worked out better. He could have had that somebody else to run the business. But
Who was in the shirt business?
pardon.
Who was in the shirt business? Wasn't there somebody on
Oh,
Dad's
that was
side?
a cousin.
A cousin, huh?
Yeah.
Mother, you ought to tell how when the boys were little you used to drag them around to everybody and let them sing.
Oh, you're about 15 then.
Wait,
Remember?
we were listening to
You
church
remember
service.
that, Wallace?
Yeah, I can't forget
She
it.
couldn't remember that.
Grandma had so many friends, you know, and she was so proud of the boys. And she wanted me to, she said, you've got to go here and you've got to go there. Do you remember it, Bill? Don't you remember that?
Yes.
Oh. And of course they were all
Never changed.
elderly women, you know. And, when they go, you know, they make such a big fuss over it.
Grandma, where did all this music come from?
Well, Mama told me that Grandma Hydorf had a very powerful voice. And I had a strong voice, and so I said, well, I wish that I had gone ahead and studied, you know. Well, she said, maybe it wouldn't be as good as Shaw. So, Marion had a pretty voice, Marion Hydorf. That was Uncle Jake's daughter. And she was the one that was in Florida.
I'm going to stop and check this thing. Okay, there's still room on there, I guess. Some more.
You mean it's still running?
Yeah, it said
Well,
45 minutes, and
I'll tell about the time I took the boys. I would take them for a walk. Little. They were just little then, you know. And, boy, one ran up on I was by myself. One ran up on the lawn and one went ahead of me, and somebody stopped you know, and stopped one of them, whatever one it was. And I got into the house with him, and I gave them each a whack.
The one and only whack they ever
like
got.
Maybe himself.
On the bottom. And Pop, oh, he just couldn't stand to see me do anything to it. I mean, oh, he said, she's a bad mama, isn't it? That didn't help, did it?
Undeserved.
But you were just little, you know.
Just showing off.
Well, you didn't walk until you were 17 months old.
Precocious, weren't we?
Why walk when there was somebody to carry you around?
Well, we used to say one was waiting for the other.
One was waiting for the
The way I tell you. So,
Huh?
well, is it over? You would come to me, or to anybody, you'd walk from the sofa or chair, and not him. I was going to tell you about Pop-Pop. We were living in Hackensack, and he just relived the war. And I think he was injured 3 times. But he'd be sitting there peeling potatoes and sitting like this, you know, and the pan on the bottom, and then he'd appear. Tramp, 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 the boys would march. You walk through those, we're tenting tonight. But you go all through this, you know. And so one time I came in, I wanted something. And I called to Mom, and I said, Mom, and she said, where is such and such a thing? And Pop-Pop says, now, Jenny, sit right down there in that chair, and your mother will go look for it for you. I guess she was upstairs anyway, so I sat down. Boy, I didn't sit very long. He up after and chased me. He was,
He wore his medals, didn't he, all the time?
huh?
Didn't he wear his medals on his suit?
Oh,
No, didn't he? On the
No.
subway?
no.
Not sure.
Didn't you go with him on a boat ride when you were young?
Huh?
Didn't you go on a boat with him when you were young?
No, I was on a train.
It was a train.
Going up to Glens Falls to Uncle Tommy's, Aunt Tilly's. And he had a flask.
Not medals.
No.
How old were you, Mother?
Huh?
How old were you?
About 12.
Uh-huh.
Must have been.
And every time he get the $30 pension, he'd go on a toot.
You could buy a lot of toot for $30.
So we were on a train going up to Hudson or Glens Falls, and we had seats down in the front where side seats where everybody could see us. And he was plastered. So, Mom and Pop don't know where he got a hold of that before we got on the train. So it was in Hoboken. So anyway, he was saying what a good old American soldier. He was singing a good old American soldier. And I was so embarrassed, you know. And I was trying to be quiet. And people were, women were shaking their, they were shaking their heads.
This older
So we finally got into
this older man with this young girl,
Yeah,
only 12
little
years old,
kid
and
with
he
a little
was.
kid.
And your mother and dad weren't? Your
Oh
mother
no, they were alone on the train.
Yeah. And sitting, there's that side seat, you know.
Yeah.
As you go in, we go in the train, and everybody could see us. And I was so embarrassed. So, I said, Papa.
Try to quiet him, huh?
I guess
Oh, then he said, oh, I'm just a good old American soldier.
How old do you think he was?
Well, let me see.
Well, that was
That was
1912.
He
1912.
died when he was, I was 14 when he died, so he died when he was,
1911.
I think he was 71 or 73. So we got into Albany, and Uncle Tommy met us. And he was just like Mom, you know, quiet, and just took a hold of his arm. And we went into the station, and I had been they put me in charge of the travel's aid.
You were in the charge of the traveler's aid.
Yes, he was in charge, and they,
When it,
Because
yeah, the traveler's
you were
aid
just a
took a
young
hold
girl.
of me.
Yeah.
Because it was broke man, you know. He said he should be ashamed of himself. And I can see the face on Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tommy.
So he took him out for a walk, and I guess they got some coffee or some, or maybe the fresh air. I don't know, but I guess he was all out of it by the time we got up to Glens Falls. I don't know how long it took to get up there. And then they wouldn't send me the picture of Pop out in St. Louis, or give me the picture.
Well, you'll get it one day, Mother.
Yeah, we'll go to work on that one.
But because I had so many experiences with him, you know. I went everywhere he went, or he went everywhere I went. Oh, and then another time, I had a little friend come over, and she had a box of candy. I guess it was fudge or something, and so she mentioned about going over to give him what he wanted, what Grandpa Pop wants some. He was sitting on the porch, and it was a hot summer day, and he'd have a sweater and a vest and everything on. He said, "What keeps out the cold keeps out the heat." He was something else. So anyway, when I said, give him some. He won't tell. I don't think he'd take any of it anyway. And but you know, I thought he'd take the whole bit. I thought he heard me say that. But you can imagine the girl with the candy, and Pop was just he probably gave it back. I don't know. It was so funny. Well, then he was in the parade. He'd go over to the parades in New York and sit in the. I remember going one time, and he was sitting in an open car. Well, my picture of him is beautiful. I just wish we could get it.
Mother, didn't Annabelle or the boys go with you?
No, just me. Papa, and me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, and then we were out one day, and we had a dog named Hector. A little terrier, I guess. And we went up, and Pop was wheeling Huddy in the carriage, and I was with him. And the dog went up on some woman's porch and had a fit. So a woman came out, she said to Pop, "Is this your dog?" He says, "No, ma'am." He says, I never saw it before in all my life." And the dog was home ahead of us on the porch. Got over the fence.
Those are good stories.
Yeah, he'd take Honey for a walk, and I'd go with him, you know.
Where's Pop buried?
Cypress Hills in Brooklyn, I guess. And Pop Stokes lived, I think, in Canarsie. And I don't know where that is. That's in New York. I guess that's in Long
Jersey,
Island
isn't
too,
it?
isn't it?
I don't know. I've heard of it. Canarsie?
Who's Pop?
My grandfather. My great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
Yeah.
How do you end up in
Well, now,
Brooklyn?
Mother Pop was
They all
Richard
lived
Taylor,
up there.
right?
yes, he was Taylor.
Pop was Richard Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richard Taylor.
They lived there too, but
Oh.
they lived mostly in Long Island, Brooklyn.
They moved around a great deal.
But I had quite a life, didn't I?
Oh my.
A lot of fun. Then one time, we lived in Hackensack, or Charleytown, and Martha was another cousin of Mama's. We just loved her. And you just doted on her. So we moved to Tarrytown, and we weren't, and there was a Quince Street out on the corner of the yard, and I took one. I took a bite of it.
A quince?
Did you ever bite it?
Oh.
Well, anyway, I went in the house and I had told Martha. Mama wasn't there at the time. And oh, she almost went in hysterics. She thought I might have gotten some poison or something, you know.
Made good jelly though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Quince.
Tom used to, or Harold used to call Martha Marcia. And the minute she'd come, we'd want to know how long she was going to stay. And my mother had a fit about that. She said, "You never should do this to ask anybody how long you're going to stay." But, well, we were so glad to see her. You know, we wanted her to stay forever. Why, one time Mom went away, and I don't know whether Martha must have been with us or someone. She usually came when Mama went somewhere. And Annabelle and I thought we'd try the sewing machine. She was 8 and I was 11. So I went up in Mama's bedroom where the sewing machine was. And Annabelle started to sew, you know, and I put my foot on the pedal. And gosh, the needle went through her finger.
Oh dear. Oh.
Did you ever do that?
Oh yeah. Not all the way through, no.
Oh, it went
I remember
in
my
and
mother
out,
did, though.
you know, but oh, we were scared to death.
Oh.
But,
Mm.
but anyway, one time we were up there in Mama's bedroom. It was a terrible storm. Thunder and lightning, it was terrible. So maybe it was one of those hurricanes that used to go through, I don't know. But Mama said, well, whenever you're frightened, say God bless us. So we'd say God bless us. So finally Annabelle got up and she said, I'm going downstairs. She says, I'm tired of saying God bless us. Is there anything else you want to know?
Well, you can stop a minute.
Yeah, stop it now.
Okay.
Well, one time, Pop was in his house, and he happened to see this, look out the window, I guess, and he saw this dog come in, the big dog come in the yard, and he had what he called a haslet. Well, that was the innards of an animal. And he saw the dog go over by the tree and dig a big hole and put the haslet in it. So, after the dog went out of the yard, he went down and he dug it up.
No.
And then he covered it all over again, So, in the meantime, Uncle Tommy's little dog, or Uncle Jake's, my thing is loose, Uncle Jake's little dog came in, just as the other big dog was coming back. No, I guess he was going out as the big dog came back, and he went over to dig up the haslet and was gone. So he went out and he chased after the little dog. Now let me see, how was that? No, I think the dog came back and dug up. There was no haslet there. So he was going out of the gate when the little dog was coming in. So he thought the little dog had got it. So he chased the little dog. Pop was watching all this. And he said he chased the little, then he came out and watched, I guess, because he said Uncle Tommy's dog got down the corner and he made a turn. But the other dog was going so fast he went right across the street. You heard that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Well, we'll take a break.
This part of the tape is 1995. It's the Saturday after Mother's birthday, and she died the following Monday night. So I've kept it even though it's confusing. This is at Sherry's house.
Christian Hydorf is here at Sherry's house, and we're talking about Civil War times. And this is Ella Flood speaking. So we're going to take some more conversation of Gramma, Mother Jane, Jan, Sherry, and Christian Hydorf. I found some more tapes available.
Well, I think what happened when all when they started getting ready to go somewhere, they could hear all the clanging.
Oh, I want you to write in my book.
Chains or whatever it
Oh,
was.
my. I'm getting sleepy.
I forget how that happened. It was a mistake.
They weren't drunk, okay, in the sense that they were fall over themselves.
But there was...
That was their form of refreshment. There was no such thing as real, in a combat situation, leave.
Couldn't get up and go home for a while.
Mommy, did you pick up my pills?
Yes, they're on the counter on the side. Yes.
So the NCOs took off a little bit and sort of went on a little side trip and got ahead of the march.
Accidentally.
Accidentally.
They thought they were straggling, and they were straggling behind, and they were straggling ahead.
That's right. That's exactly what they did.
I've got to get my pen.
Well, it turns out that the way they did that, apparently the guy who was either the owner or who worked in this tavern in Poolsville, they conned him into taking them with a wagon up some of the back roads so they stay away from the main line of march so they didn't get caught. So they weaved around. Yeah, they sort of got around behind the line of march so they didn't get caught. And General Hancock finally came upon them. How terrible to be caught by a major general. Well, General Hancock wasn't stupid either, so he knew what they were doing.
He could have made life really
Oh, he
miserable for
could.
them.
Well, there was something they did, I forget what that was, but everything started, you could hear the different things that happens when they start to move. All of the paraphernalia they use.
Whatever you want to say or something.
What do you want it signed?
Well, sure.
Well, I guess you signed the one you have, did you sign it? Oh, no. You want him to sign yours?
Well, sure.
Autograph it?
Let me just look in the shelf here. I sent it to school with the kids one day, and I'm not
What
sure
they did there. That nice.
It's very distracting. 10 o'clock on the clock.
Yes, I took that photograph.
Did you? Well done.
This is one I got for Jan.
This in the front here?
Yeah, I took that. A lot of the photographs inside are my photographs also.
Really? What? What do you do in your spare time?
I don't have any.
Took my glasses off again. I'm so stupid about that. Did you take your pill, Evan? That has the battery recharging. Now, you have one left. You want me to...
Where we want to send it
One's
to?
for Dan.
Want to send it out to St. Louis or Missouri or wherever?
But, I did have... Did you find it? This is our copy. Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's in there too. I'll send one to somebody else. I'll, 10% of yours. I never find genealogy. I'm trying to write the same thing in each of the 3 books, except the front page when I my first born, second born, late child.
You know, I was going through the living room today and was struck by how much that Matt
I'm trying to
resembled
find
that
something.
photograph on the wall. Grandma, don't you think that photograph looks like Matt?
Which one?
The one on the wall of your father,
Of
of your dad.
my dad?
Looks like Matt.
Oh. I don't know. You know, Mom said she used to sing when she was
You
young.
made the list for me, the 12, you couldn't think of the last person.
Over the rainbow.
Yeah,
Oh, she said
there's
she sang it,
the
so
adopted girl.
when she was a little kid.
Harry is the adopted boy, and I think
I should make copies of these letters.
Karen is the
Letters.
adopted
Yeah.
boy. I can't remember.
How old are babies now?
20, the boy is 26 or 25. The girl is probably about...
They were.
The game was tied 1-1. Is it still tied? What is it now?
2-1.
Who?
Who got the run?
It's just Mother
Vincent?
and me.
Huh?
No.
Bill had
Graves?
and then this is back again with his pilot.
Yeah.
And Edward Kay came to the airport at Albany to
Something bad's happened.
We looked so
And I said,
sad.
oh, we got one last.
and Edward took us up to the Lake Casino.
We looked so sad. I said, it was
They were keeping those bad boys
the Graves got the run. I don't know what they said other than that.
and I remember distinctly how he
He was
was
sick of the Braves winning.
nice, cute boy.
Yeah.
so he would
I don't like,
I
well,
don't like the Braves. Not for 10 years. It's too good.
well, I don't like baseball.
Would it be about 16?
No, but I hope the Indians win.
Well, he was-
I used to go to
20,
Indians games with my
22.
cousin Andy in Florida games.
What?
Florida games.
10. What'd you say?
They scored again 3-1.
3-1. And you mean the Braves have got 2 more runs? 3-1 now.
Yeah.
Your sisters were still in the house.
Did somebody score again?
They're not all married, but they're.
Well, but it's only one game. But this one of their best
Two
wishes.
down in Florida. Susan and Jane are in Florida.
Where? Well, the Phillies beat
Let
them.
me see, is it Palm Beach or is it, I don't think it's Palm Beach.
No.
But I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of the community.
I don't know whether you know or not, but Phyllis and Pat and your father came and visited Mother. They didn't stay at our house. They stayed at the Macintosh Inn in King of Prussia. And they stayed for several days. And they had a lot of fun together, just the 3 of them. And Phyllis was beginning to have a little trouble, but she didn't let on. She was missing. But she didn't want Mother to know.
Sure.
Well, it was like several years after she got. You know the date of her death?
I don't remember exactly.
No, I don't remember either. I don't think I have it down anywhere. But we were fond of Phyllis because she came to see us when Bill and I were in Pedricktown in the church. And she was in college, I guess. She had one outfit. One really nice outfit.
Yep.
And she would talk, smoke and talk, smoke and talk, and then she'd get up and she'd do all the work. And she'd do all the dishes, she'd run the vacuum. She worked like a dog.
She was full of energy.
Yeah, then she came to see us when we were over in France. I mean, we enjoyed her visit there. She stayed overnight with us. This place where we sounds glamorous, it wasn't.
Hey,
Did you attend this dedication ceremony?
And then we lived in
I was
Washington.
there, yeah, every minute
for
of
a
it.
time.
This guy is a friend of a friend. I met him at a party. Terry Jones. Do you know him? Oh, cool. I showed him this. In fact, I gave him the book for a while because he
Terry
had.
Jones?
Yeah. He hadn't seen the whole thing, and
Yeah, I talked
He
with
wasn't-
her.
Really? Yeah. Nice guy. Really nice guy. And it's got all the pictures of how he made the statue, which was really nice. And he hadn't seen all that, so that was really nice.
Yeah,
It's a
this
wonderful
is the only,
statue.
this is the only documentary was ever done on this event.
Really?
There is no other.
I'm sure you had
So
to know
important.
him.
I met him at a party, and he said he did a statue at Gettysburg, and I said, no kidding.
Yeah, what was
I got
that?
a whole book about the dedication ceremonies at Gettysburg. I'll go look you up. And he said, well, maybe I'm in there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
You don't know where he is from now. You don't know.
Yeah, he has a studio in Chester.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does he have one of these books?
Yeah, well, he does bronze work.
Does he have one of
And so he has to be near a foundry.
I think he probably does.
He probably does. He probably has made full contact with it.
Yeah, I think I sent him and probably just everybody a copy who had direct contributions to it.
I should have gotten him to sign it when he had it.
Yeah.
Can you sign this one?
Yeah,
Sure, he can let go of it long enough. Can you sign it?
yeah, he's down here.
Don't feel better. I'm going to sign it in the back of this picture.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Is your boss
what are these?
Yeah, those are the medals. These are the actual ones that were.
Oh, on the back here. Oh,
This one here is the 1963 one. That's in front here.
No, it's about my age.
See if I can show you that. So I did a summary of all the previous events in the 20th
Oh, a
century.
lot of things. I'm still learning, Grandma.
Three dates.
Oh.
And here it is. There it is right there.
oh, neat.
That's that medal.
And the back of it is, ooh, it's a heavy one.
Whoops, hold on. Is that from me?
Oh.
You want
No.
ready to go
No,
home
this is
pretty soon?
Grant and Lee.
That's the Centennial Medal.
Whenever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Gee, that's cool.
Stay
Who did
here.
these, who did this bronze one?
I don't know who did that. That was done in 1963 or
His
so.
things, he brought
Here
his
it
things.
says Renier.
Commission, yeah, it's issued by the commission. This one hitting this little one here is the one that's in the,
Well, we can meet
in the
again
back
after
of the book
church.
there.
After church?
See, there's the pen.
Oh, yeah.
There's the pen.
You can look at this one. I have these
Cool.
three are, I'm keeping.
That's
Sherry has
beautiful.
one.
Really
This
nice.
is an extra that's. He brought those medals that are pictured here from the,
It's a wonderful relief of Lincoln's face.
What time do you have to get up in the morning?
Tomorrow,
She's sleeping
how
in.
about 9?
You don't get up until 9? Oh, tomorrow's Sunday.
Right.
What time do you have to get up? Get up from your work?
6 or 6:30?
and I have it like, Bill and I, we
It
both,
is, that's nice.
well, we have it on work, but the one time.
It writes
Yes.
very well. I mean,
I don't
It has a
like
nice
it, I don't.
it's a very nice feel to it, and it's got a nice
We
type
both purchased them, and we both like them.
Do you get through at 4:30?
Rocky.
Fine.
Yeah. Thanks, I appreciate that, yeah. I like that, yeah. They handle well.
Where's the New York,
Sherry
The,
is it in-
has
where's the
had
picture?
most copy.
for what now?
for the New York monument?
There is a,
Brought 5 more.
I don't think there's any, in other words, there wasn't a monument dedication
No?
at of the New York monument in there. There was a program given about a New York regimental flag that was dedicated,
Uh-huh.
or sort of put there in the museum, I guess, but they had a program for it. And a little speech
I
given.
wonder how I was the interest to get all the information.
Oh, yeah.
And there's-
Otherwise, we wouldn't
yeah.
know.
Oh.
But we're not for you, Chris, you didn't learn stuff.
Well, one of the ways to perpetuate the history and the heritage is to spread it around. If more than one person knows about it and spreads it, it'll stay around.
What's that?
Exactly.
Daddy got this to give
All the
back.
boards.
We almost lost
I
it.
wanted it.
Who's showing
No, no, it's fine.
Dick Jones.
2 years ago.
What'd you say?
He almost left her
We gave her
We
a clock
almost lost
instead.
all of this
You had said
heritage, you say,
she wanted a clock
in
radio.
the family, because it was disappearing and going.
This is really kind of cute. You're talking about their buddies. Dick Taylor. Brave old ditch of the heart of gold. This is really written in his
This is
own.
really his,
Yeah.
And then on the next page, at the very end of the book,
We got that much done.
it's no your question about the story, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
you're
blah,
right.
blah. As to Google, I mean, he keeps
if you
saying,
need,
I mean, he must have been
birthdays
very
and all that stuff,
fond,
you're
you
gonna
know,
have all
it's
that.
kind of neat to
Yeah, well,
have
we're
that
gonna
perspective
fill
on his
everything
buddies, you know.
that's neat.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, give me an extract, I'll take it back, yeah, drop me a note and
And,
I'll take it.
well, I'll send you a copy of that thing when I get it enlarged.
You know, but I can see, and I can just imagine this little guy, he's only 5'10", and he's probably, like a little baby rooster full of, fire water.
How big a guy was Pop Pop?
5'10".
5'10",
5'10", so not big.
Little, feisty little, hard drinking, hard fighting, hard partying.
It's a classic
Good
art.
old boy,
I think you fit right in, don't you?
Like a thing.
Well, where do you think we
Mother
get it?
between us.
Think about
They
it.
had all the others in it.
Is there a David?
I just
Yes.
put it forward.
Yeah, I'll
This was
see what-
James.
David Hudson
With
Phillips.
James.
Was it?
Yeah.
James.
It's tiny, I want to have it enlarged.
Yes.
She's something else.
Yeah, she is.
Add to it. And then that sweater I gave you was James. Nice
Okay.
sweater.
And she's now,
She said it was,
she is now,
I don't know what was the matter with it.
I can remember it's supposed to kiss.
But
I think I'd like very much to have a copy of that.
It is.
she
appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of trouble with it.
And you know what?
Happy to church.
You know what?
Not the person, what's your...
If we had a copy of it,
She probably also needed the full.
You wouldn't put it in a trunk and hide it under your bed?
But we just did this in a hurry the other day on her
Little size of the buttons on it.
yeah,
Covered too.
yeah.
Who wrote this?
And they gave an extra.
Whether Parsons himself wrote that, I mean, that's that old-fashioned, cursive.
Well, since it's mentioned,
mothers.
Gail's that you didn't see the Gail's that name.
Yeah.
No, Mom,
Did she tell you about it?
Mom told me, that's fabulous.
Oh, beautiful.
Really?
Nice and warm.
Oh, good. Chris, who made the annotations on these?
yeah, who wrote this?
This, I honestly, I think that was Tom Taylor, his son.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now the other notations, I did that.
Now that would have been Uncle Tommy, your brother.
What?
No.
Tom Taylor.
Her uncle.
Yeah, right.
Oh, jeez. You know,
Well, you keep
Tough,
forgetting.
selection of unique names would have been really a gift.
Yeah, but wait till you get to doing
That was my
the
grandfather.
Greeks. They keep repeating names.
Dick Taylor.
That's true.
Daddy's great, our great-great. Your kids' great-great-great.
How many kids were in that generation? In Grandma's father's generation? Mother's generation?
Well, her mother
Yeah.
had a brother, right? One brother,
Uncle
two
Tommy.
kids. Tommy and Annie were Dick's kids.
Yeah.
We don't know his wife's name.
Richard
know his
Taylor.
wife's
name? Nothing about her
We still
wife.
don't know.
Is that
You know,
strange?
it's amazing in the.
You don't know
it was
anything
my-
about your grandma?
No?
I'm watching.
About your grandmother?
What her name was?
Oh. Well, you see, they lived up in Hutchinsville, Sandy Hill. The only thing I remember about her was I got up when I was about 5 years old. And I got up, I don't know what I got up for, but I went out into the other room and she met me. And she said, well, get back to bed.
Well, we don't like her anyway. Forget
Guess
it.
that's summarized.
No wonder we don't know her name.
Wait, but if Pop Pop was living with you, where was she?
Oh, this was when I was 5 years old.
Well, did she die?
She died,
How old was she?
65.
Wow.
So
Something we didn't know that.
And I was 5 years old.
she was nasty and then she died.
For whatever reason.
Oh, maybe she was nasty because he was drinking.
Oh, that's true too.
I told her I wanted a drink of water, but I didn't get it.
Grandma, was she Irish?
She was on to me. Yeah, she must have come over. I don't know if she came over to pop up or not. Probably not.
Well, no, because he was 14.
Huh?
He was
He was
14
14
when he came over, yeah,
when he came.
to the United
Yeah.
States, yes.
So we're trying to figure out
Well,
where
she
she
didn't
came
come
from.
from Ireland yet.
We're trying to figure out what her story is.
What her story is.
Yeah.
Well, Mama said that she, looked, instead of looking on the bright side of things, she looked on the dark side of things.
Oh.
That's the only thing.
Absolutely. You know what? Probably the quietest place
That's
in
the only
Hollywood
thing I know about
She was a crabby old thing, huh? She was a cranky old thing.
In the hallway.
She wasn't
on the left.
like Mama.
It's also your bedroom.
On
the left.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah, just
everyone's
reach
asleep.
around the corner and turn the light on.
She always looked on the
Right above
bright
the
side.
desk. There
Anybody
you
had
go.
any problem, she listened and she gave them something to think about that was good.
Huh.
Yeah. It was wonderful. Everybody liked her.
Well, this is my great-great-grandmother, and I don't know anything about her except that she was a mean old witch who was negative. Well, hey, that's right.
She might have fit it right in
I can
too.
stop blaming my mom now.
You see that shiny hair?
Yes, really.
Kind of reddish. Kind of reddish. Sherry, did you notice the shiny hair he had? I kind of wave in it.
Try again?
On the reddish side.
I remember him now that I was thinking, but in my mind I was picturing somebody taller and darker.
Really?
Well, I had forgotten. We met them years ago.
Here's a book all about the Civil War that he wrote.
Oh, you're going to be going to
Well, your mother has a copy of it. It's my copy.
Your class trip is Gettysburg, isn't it? Huh.
Yeah.
It just so happens that Chris is an expert about Gettysburg.
You know what my copy is?
You know you're going to Gettysburg this spring.
I say, do you know where my copy is?
Well, this must be it. That's it.
Oh, where'd you have it?
In the shelf.
Well, you can read it. Did he autograph it?
He wasn't on charge of it. I insisted. He said that he was getting $15.
Let me see his autograph.
But he gave me an extra one because he wants me to send one out to Missouri or something.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Let me see his
I want to have
autograph.
three, one for each of your children. Three each have one.
Nice
We've
open.
got 4 children. So it comes on.
Where the autograph? In the back? Family what?
Heritage.
Oh,
If I overdo it, I guess
it looks better.
it had a side one when I got out of the car here, at home. When we came home from the airport, my leg was under here. But I had one.
Yeah, I got
Jam
another
told me to
one.
sit down, I didn't.
Yeah, the marvelous.
Well, that night I had.
Wow.
Well, I haven't really been under extreme pressure. What I cooked, I just cooked these, at my
Thanks for doing all that.
very well. Feel real good coming.
I don't have any patience for this. I really hate being slow.
And we all do. We're that kind of creatures.
And would you wear that folded back or like that?
Like that.
Yeah, I like it better like
Yeah.
that. They had it in all, yeah.
No, I don't. I'd like to, but I promised it back.
I didn't know that.
See, I called him up and I said, if you wouldn't mind leaving, I said, you can come by tomorrow and pick it up. Or, if you would be kind enough to leave it self-service, I'll courier it back to you. Well, I guess I could do that. And of course, at that point, it was all I could do. Keep my mouth shut.
Well, maybe he would like to, take it and photograph it. He does a lot of photographs. And then maybe sometime you could take it back.
Well, Sherry and I were talking about it last night. Who would appreciate it more? Who would appreciate it more? Yeah, and just look at that. And this is the only thing. This is it. I think Taylor has a uniform. Joan has a uniform. But by the time Alan gets finished with him, he's going to have to give it all up. And I know Alan is not going to take this lightly. So.
Did you hear him tell about the Dillner canteens? And they sat on the picture of the thing where he sat.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Well, this is a great account. You want to make some copies of that?
Yeah. Miss Jan, can you do that? You don't have a way of doing it.
I'll do it tomorrow at church.
Miss Jan,
You know what?
I'm gonna get
Wait a minute, guys.
my stuff up to the line.
If he'll let you, put that on the agenda too.